Episode of Care Sandwich. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host, and today I'm going to be joined by JJ Lee, who has been working with entrepreneurs to help them protect what they've built, their names, their logos, their taglines for over 15 years. That's a long time. I can't wait for you to meet my awesome guest, but first, check out this video.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to invite my awesome guest to the virtual stage. JJ, come join us. Tell us about yourself.
Hi. Well, thank you, Margarita. Pleasure being here. I'm a trademark attorney, been a trademark attorney for over 15 years. And when you mentioned that, it's a long time. That is a long time. But at the same time, we've registered over 7,500 trademarks for our clients. And primarily, we only do trademarks. So we don't do patents. We do maybe some copyrights, but our primary focus of our practice is just serving and registering and enforcing trademarks. So that's kind of been our bread and butter for our firm. And we've been kind of a boutique firm that we've been just focused on making sure that the brands are registered and protected for all of our clients.
That's great. And so you are in Michigan, correct? And the type of law that you practice, what geography can you practice in? Tell us more about that.
Yes, thank you. It's cold in Michigan right now. It's about 19 degrees.
I don't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Right, I know. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and because it's federal law, we can represent people from all over the world. We represent almost from every state in the U.S. and mostly our clients are outside of the Michigan area, but we also have clients from outside the U.S. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office relatively recently required that all foreign applicants have a representative that's in the U.S. And because of that, we've represented people from all over the world. So yeah, wherever you are, it doesn't matter where you are, we're happy to represent you.
Wow. So let me ask you this. If I am a law firm owner and I'm listening, watching this podcast, why should I contact you to refer out the trademark, needs that maybe my clients have? Because that happens all the time. Like people get asked to do things that is not within their wheelhouse because a lot of people get confused and they think, oh, the lawyer that did this can probably also do this. So walk us through, like, what are some of the benefits of these attorneys referring those cases to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate that. I'll kind of respond with the question is, if you need brain surgery, would you go to a brain surgeon specialist or would you go to a generalist? And most of the time people would say, yeah, I want to go to the specialist because the specialist has specific information, knowledge, experience actually doing brain surgery or heart surgery. And so that's exactly the reason. And law is similar to that in medical, where yes, you do kind of cover all laws, but at the same time, who do you want representing you? Do you want somebody representing you that's been doing this for 15 years or somebody who has just started and trying things out? And we've seen, and it's not to denigrate anybody, but at the same time, there is a level of experience and things that we've seen with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and other situations, especially litigation, that is not obvious and apparent, and that's similar to a case for medical services for a generalist versus a specialist. You want the specialist doing the job because you want the specialist to know what to expect, where a generalist would be maybe doing it a couple of times versus doing it every day in their career.
So JJ, how did you end up in this niche of the law? Like, what made you want to do trademarks? Is there like a story behind this?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, my first legal job was doing bankruptcy law, and so I represented. I know exactly. it
Were they
follows the kind of
bankrupt because they failed to protect the trademark?
well,
That would have been
oh my gosh,
epic.
that would be a great client course. Yeah, that would be a great client
Yeah.
story, but it wasn't the case. Mostly
Oh.
I represented initially the first year the mortgage companies, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this, and then I kind of converted over to represent the debtors. But both cases, I have to tell you a funny story. I was doing the intake for one of the clients when I was representing the debtors, and I was doing the intake. The person sitting across from me at my desk, as I was doing the input stuff, he was actually clipping his toenails, and I'm like,
Mm.
well, what kind of I'm like, is this what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? So at that point, I
I
decided
can't
maybe
with the visual. Hold on, I can't
right,
unsee that.
right, exactly. He was literally clipping his toenails while I was doing the intake. So I tried to keep a
Oh my
poker face.
god.
I was just like, okay. I tried not to look down, but it was one of those moments like, what am I doing with my life? And it not to say that the clients are bad, but it's kind of there's kind of a depressive tone over the whole atmosphere because they're coming there because of course they need help, but it's a very difficult situation. On the other hand, when doing
Mm.
trademark law, these are all entrepreneurs trying to develop and grow.
Building.
Exactly, they're building and they're
Yeah.
growing, and so when we work with the clients, especially in terms of trying to protect their brand, it's a different vibe, different atmosphere, and I'm sure you encounter the same thing as well in terms of the different clientele that you work with, but it provides energy for me. It's life sustaining, giving in terms of me able to help other people, especially entrepreneurs, grow and protect their brands, and so it's a different setup. So when I got into that, it was a natural fit. I enjoyed working with the people, and even though it's not always rainbows and sunshines, we have a common path that we're trying to get to in terms of protecting the brand and protecting their business and growing their business. So it's a different environment. I enjoyed it, and I haven't looked back since.
So now let's talk to entrepreneurs because I'm guilty of this. I'm an entrepreneur too, right? I don't think of trademark attorney services as I'm thinking about how I'm going to form a business. It's just not my habit. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there don't even have it on their radar. So give us, if you have a cautionary tale or explain, and I've learned, okay, after working with it, explain why it's so important to have a sense of urgency over protecting your marketing, your assets, your things.
Right. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, entrepreneurs, they shoot first and then aim later, right? It's one of those you want to make sure you build and build as quickly as possible. No, and I don't blame it. It's exactly that mindset that actually helps grow businesses. And this is why we have so many amazing businesses in the world. But then at a certain point, nowadays it's I would say, look, the world has changed so much. It's not brick and mortars anymore. It's a lot of things online. And so there's so many times when my clients come up to me after they started businesses and this start saying, okay, I think we should register this as a trademark. But so many times these are already taken or somebody has something similar to it. So that's the cautionary tale, is at what point do you say, okay, all right, now that I started building something, let's protect it. And I think it's a very fine line in terms of balance of when to go. Let's go for legal protection versus let's just go for it. Because there are also the other extreme, which is um, doing and spending all this money on legal services and not having a product or service. And I think that's
Yeah.
actually, I'd say that's more dangerous because there's no point in doing any of that until you actually have a viable business model or project. And yes, you may have to change your name or your branding, but at least you have something that makes money. But what I don't want to do is somebody spending 90% of the time saying, I want to protect all this, and don't have any business in the next 2 years and have to file bankruptcy because they don't have anything. So in that
Right.
aspect, right. So when you start seeing that projection of income coming in, I know probably the first couple of years, it's going to be basically reinvesting in the firm to make sure it grows, number
And
one.
and
Yeah.
that's where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck. Like I'm in the marketing space, I stay in
Yes.
my lane, but because I've been surrounded by wonderful people like yourself that have educated me, I do touch on the conversation of, well, if you're going to launch this podcast, how about we think about like protecting it from day one? What's that going to look like? So I have those conversations on the surface, But I really struggle, and maybe you can help me overcome this objection. I really struggle with, well, it's not making money yet. Like, we need to invest in these other things. Like, how do you walk through the math? I know the math is not going to be exact, but what's the thought process behind the math of, okay, it is economically viable and recommended to do this. So what I understood from what you already said is, like, when you actually have something to protect and you have a fully formed product, or idea, but then what does that look like in your books? Like,
Yes.
how much money are we talking about? Or, yeah, you understand my question.
I do.
You
I
understand it
completely
better
do.
than I do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and this is kind of a vernacular way of asking the question, is that at one point would it be just way too difficult to change your brand name during the whole process? So that's what I would ask. At what
The point
point
of no
you were like,
return.
yeah, at what point, exactly, the point of no return. When would you say, no way, I cannot change anything about it because we're having too much momentum? Now, if you start off in the first 3 months and you're doing a podcast and you have maybe 20 listeners, yeah, it's not a big problem to change things around at that point. But at what point are you going to say, oh shoot, if somebody starts taking these over, or somebody has another brand name, or have superior rights than I do, at what point is it going to be too difficult to do so? And I'd say this is a
I
good
like that.
cadence to keep every month or every quarter, just to reevaluate your brand. I know you're right. When people are focused on their business, this is not something they think about, and it doesn't have to be something that you think about all the time. But it is something that you have to consider, especially when you want to grow your business. And it's just kind of a funny level where you get to a point where you're doing so well that you're like, oh, I wish that I would have protected that months ago. But at the same time, you're working so hard to try to get to that level where you are reaching a level of success. So it's worth having a discussion. You don't have to
Yeah.
go all out, but it's worth talking to us. And we're like, well, or any other trademark attorney going, well, what should I protect? How can I protect it now? I don't have a big budget. When should I come back? And then you can keep revisiting this until you get to a point where, but if it's out of your mind, and this is, I think, where you run into the problem, is people have been working on business for years and they haven't been thinking about that, realize, oh, shoot, maybe it is something I need to protect. And if it's been years, then it's so much more difficult to change things when you have to.
Yeah, and they don't realize where they might have exposure. Like, I know with
Right.
my, marketing boss, like, that's, the domain's like gone already. Like, so I had to do some research before even committing to that as a brand. I called in a favor with an attorney like yourself, and I was like, no, what do you think? And I'm just now, what is it, like 4 or 5 years later, finishing off the process. So yeah, it's and I think I did the formula that you described. Like, I got to the point where I was like, oh, let me just do some preliminary research,
Mhm.
get this going, fully form the idea, because she did ask me a lot of questions about what I sell, how I sell, and I honestly did not have that year one. So
Right, right,
yeah.
right. And I that's a great time. That's a great segue, and I'm glad you bring it up. For a trademark to be successfully registered with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and offer
Hmm.
full protection, you actually have to have it in use in commerce. You can't hold it and reserve it like a domain name. Now, there are ways to file the application as intent to use, so you have some time to show proof of use. But I for your listeners, I want to make sure that unless you actually have a working business, you can't register your trademark. So that's something to consider in people's mind, especially when they're workshopping things or they're coming up with prototypes. They may not be ready to proceed forward with it. Once it is in use in commerce or close to, that's a good time to consider, let's start protecting my brand.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, I was surprised by the amount of questions that I was being asked about how it's used. So yeah, that's a great point. So any other pieces of advice that you want from JJ Lee, guys? You can get a hold of him. JJ, how can people get a hold of you?
There's a link. There should be a link. It's to our website, trademarklawyerfirm.com/contact. If you go there, or just go to the website, there's contact forms on there. You can schedule time with us, or you could fill out a form. I mean, it's really nice. Just clickable forms, mobile forms that you can send, or you can call us or email. We offer, or text as well. So we
Oh,
offer.
great.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to keep up with technologies available, whatever way that you want to reach back to you.
That's great that you know your avatar so well, because entrepreneurs are like so notorious for like text.
It's all mobile now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone do work on the go. And because a lot of things are mobile related, we try to make our firm and our services accessible via mobile. And I appreciate going to our conference, and that's one of the big talk about is how do you help your clientele and offer in that manner. So that's we'll apply
Super
that.
cool. Well, JJ, it's been so great interviewing you. I feel like you gave a lot of really good advice for entrepreneurs. And remember that if you have a law firm and somebody asks you about Trademark, now you know who to send them to. He can work anywhere in the country or work on projects anywhere in the country, which is awesome. So JJ, I have one more question for you. And,
Sure.
I ask every single guest, no judgment. If it's PB&J, I won't judge you, but what's your favorite sandwich?
This came up and I was thinking about this. Can I ask
Yeah.
you, Margarita, do you consider a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog, but I guess like
Right. It's like
it's like a
it's
trademark
meat.
question. Is it?
No,
But
I'm
is its use a sandwich?
my favorite sandwich. I was thinking about that. What qualifies as a sandwich? Being
Oh,
legal
that's cool.
and all that. I really like a good like lettuce, tomato with eggs in it. That's probably
Yummy, full of protein. I love it. Oh my gosh.
exactly.
Well, JJ, it's been great. For those of you that tuned in, I'm excited that you were able to catch this awesome episode and that you got some helpful tips. And we'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.